yeah, I guess welcome everybody to another GT Spaces AMA. This time we have Angel Protocol with us, and hopefully we'll have some representation from Delphi joining soon. Unfortunately, our usual smooth talking big brain co-host Terranor isn't with us today, so myself and Jimmy are going to try and steer this one along. To kick things off, Chauncey, I'm just wondering if you could maybe introduce yourself, your background, and how Angel came into being. I know a lot of people know this story already, but there might be some new listeners here that want to hear the background. And then maybe if you could hand over to your colleagues to introduce themselves and how they got involved in the project.
Yeah, absolutely. So Angel Protocol has been an absolute trip. A true baby born of Web3 and decentralized finance in the truest sense. Really just an idea, tweeted out to the universe, gained a lot of traction, entered into the Delphi Terra IDO hackathon, the first one, I believe. And yeah, thanks to the community support and amazingly talented people who joined onto the team from all over the world, we've been able to carry forward. Got $300,000 gifted to us early on to help support our build, which has allowed us to get our whole MVP up and running. And we're actually live on chain right now, donating to over 40 charity endowments. So it's been a very, very exciting journey over the past 6 months. Feels like multiple lifetimes rolled in there. But yeah, it's really mainly on the strength and generosity of the community, both the general lunatics out there, as well as all of the Terra protocols, NFT projects, validators who have joined this giving pledge to commit some portion of their revenue to charity, which I think is just a beautiful thing. But yeah, so for myself, I left General Electric, where I was serving as a global program manager, working for various GE businesses and operations there, and just tried to take some of that experience of working with global teams for project delivery and execution, and take that into the Web3 space. But beyond that, it's just been a learning journey, talking to the kind of people who are on this call who are smarter and more experienced in the space to learn and develop our vision. But yeah, I'll give the team a chance to introduce themselves here. I don't know who we want to start with, but I'll throw it over to Lambert if he's good to speak.
Yeah, it took me a little bit of time to understand how you had to request to be a speaker, but that's it. So thank you for the introduction. I've been investing in the space for a little bit more than 6 years now, and I asked at the hackathon to join the team, and yeah, and it's been smooth sailing so far.
What's your role at Angel Protocol, Lambert?
So I'm mainly focused on product and operations. It's we're still a small team, so we all do a bit of everything. But yeah, mainly product and ops.
Thanks, man. Kev, do you want to jump in?
Yeah. As Lambert said, we do a lot. So since like day one of Angel, I've been the see a need, fill a need. And over the last couple months, I've taken over the Angel Alliance, which has been absolutely incredible to try to think through how best to highlight and support all of these amazing protocols, artists, and just projects that want to help and give their charitable ways over to us. I mean, it's been pretty humbling. And yeah, before that, I've been in crypto for almost a decade. Gave like my first speech on blockchain and Bitcoin in like 2013, but I never thought it would go above 1,000, and sold most of it for diapers. And so seeing it where it's at now, it's pretty amazing. But yeah, when I found Luna, I liquidated everything for it and been a lunatic since. I think most people know me through Luna Loot, but yeah, Angel is definitely where my heart's at and where I try to put all my time.
Thanks, Kev. GJ?
Yeah, hi everyone. A number of you have probably met me with my Flipside hat on, but surprise, I also do Angel stuff. mostly whatever Chauncey asks. I think that the term he throws around is special projects. So part of it is supporting with on-chain data and making sure that we uphold transparency and intellectual rigor in everything that we do, critical for charities. And then I'm also involved in the Restore Earth project, as is Lambert, among a number of others. I hope we get to talk about that a tiny bit because it's super, super cool. But a little bit of everything. Small team, moves fast. Super glad to be part of it.
Thanks, GJ. And then I'm not sure who we've got hiding behind the Angel Protocol account, but I don't know if you want to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. I'm Mike. I'm also a listener on my laptop, but speaking on behalf of Angel here, the Twitter at least. So yeah, I help with partnerships at Angel, whether that be NFTs, charity onboarding, or of the 30 protocols that are helping support us on the Angel Alliance. I joined the hackathon as most of us did, and just really gelled with the team. Loved the vision that we had. I had joined a couple of hackathons prior with the idea of a charitable protocol, and the vision, the mission, and the execution that we were able to complete in 6 months since has been nothing but amazing. So I help run community socials. So you guys might see me, Mike VP, on Twitter and on Telegram. So happy to be here.
Thanks, everyone. It's great to have you all here. I absolutely love the Angel Foundation story. Many of the people here probably, listening on the call would love to get involved in crypto projects. And, it went from a tweet from Chauncey to the hackathon to actually building this thing out in kind of 6 months, which is pretty amazing, and gives a lot of inspiration to people in this space. So again, like a lot of us do know about Angel Protocol, but just to kind of open things up, maybe you could just tell us a little bit about what Angel Protocol is and how it works, and we'll get a little bit into the tokenomics a little bit later on.
Sure. So with Angel, the goal is to provide the benefits of DeFi without the complexity for charities. So we're trying to tap into a concept we're calling generative giving, which is instead of just giving once, really the gifts that you give continue to provide in perpetuity. So the way we enable this is we take donations, invest them into endowment accounts that are tapped into different investment strategies. So Anchor is kind of the best recognized one there, and sort of the benchmark rate that we'll be tapping into. But really, any yield source on Terra is fair game here. So we're talking with other teams like Apollo and Sandclock and Mars, even to see how we could potentially integrate with their yield options. But then once the donated money is invested into these endowment accounts, the yield is basically split 75-25. So 75% of the yield is harvested and sent to the charities to do with as they need to cover their operating expenses. And the other 25% is reinvested into the endowment account to compound in perpetuity. So what you get here is not just giving, but making sure the impact of that gift continues on forever and grows forever. Because the endowments are locked, it effectively creates a locked compounding UST floor for the Luna ecosystem, where we'll be taking in donations natively cross-chain from Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Atom, or other coins on Terra, converting that into UST, locking it in these endowment accounts to compound.
Yeah, I think it's a great point because not only is Angel, a charitable endeavor, but it's also potentially a UST black hole, as you just described there, Chauncey, which is a great benefit to the entire platform. So just going through some basics, how would someone donate to a charity through Angel?
Yeah, so for your typical donor at home, you would log on to our site, launch the web app, and then you would browse through to select the charity that you want to support. We have these organized according to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. These are things like ending poverty, hunger, fighting climate change. And so you can, browse by the area of interest, look at all of the charities that have aligned with that goal, click in to see a profile page for the charity and more information around them and metrics around their organization. And then you click donate, and it connects to your wallet. So we've got a number of wallets that will be supported, but yeah, then you can donate directly through our front end to charities.
Sounds super simple. The charities that are on the platform, do they have to come to you? If so, how do they get onboarded? And are you actively kind of reaching out to charitable organizations to get them to join the platform?
Absolutely. So in our eyes, onboarding charities is one of the most important biz dev moves for Angel and for the ecosystem as a whole. Right? Like the end game here is to pull more UST into the system and to benefit as many charities as we possibly can. What Angel is really a systemic upgrade to the traditional philanthropy and fundraising space. So we believe that we're building a financial primitive on chain that will replace traditional funding mechanisms for charities long term. So on one hand, right, we want it to be very inclusive. We want it to be available to any charities that want to use the platform. But then we have also these automated donation streams to consider. And so rather than sending that to every charity on the platform, as we get a quorum of charities here, those will be curated by Halo stakers on Angel Protocol. So people will be able to signal their support for specific charities, which will also raise them up for inclusion in these automated donation giving indexes. So that's a bit of a long answer. The short answer is yes, yes, yes. We are trying to onboard charities, wherever we can. We're very global in nature, so we're encouraging the community to reach out to local charities that are important to them and help connect with Angel. And there's multiple avenues there. Charities can go to our homepage and submit a form to signal their interest. We also have a Discord where community members can come and either bring up charities they want to see, and our onboarding team can approach them to get them on the platform. We also have a program called Angel Ambassadors, where community members who would like to be involved can get training on how to actually approach charities and talk to them about Angel Protocol. So if you do want to be an Angel Ambassador and bring more charities on board, please come join us in our Discord and we can give you all the tools you need.
Awesome. Yeah, obviously the more charities and choice you get on there, the better. You mentioned an automated giving process. How does that work? Is that like I say I want to give $50 a month to a specific charity or a specific bucket, and it just takes it from my wallet every month? How does that work?
Yeah, so I don't want to dominate the conversation too much, and I'm only one of a very big thing that is Angel Protocol. So I'm going to pass that off to Kevin to speak to the Angel Alliance a bit more.
Yeah. So what was the question?
So is it related to the Angel Alliance and the Giving Pledge? We can speak to how Apollo started that off with their 1%, and then Loop followed with 10% of their token supply, and just kind of how that's evolved from here.
Yeah, well, and it changed a lot with NFTs. I mean, NFTs came in, and it was like, we had Galactic Punks through Luna Loot that came on and blew it out, and then Astroverse, that was really cool. We put Astroverse up there, and it went for 11,000, and then the person donated 15,000, making up on the other end. So it started with the 1% from Apollo. But then Loop came in and they put their whole tokens, or 10% of their token supply. And then it just became, how do we just support the commitment that works best for the Alliance member itself? And so Mike helps a lot with this as well, to where we just want to support what works best for the protocol or the NFT project. And then people get really creative with how to do that. So whether it's just through the royalties on their NFT project itself, or if it's actually like yield coming from one of the protocols, it's just up to the Alliance member and the entire alliance itself to help support in that commitment. So it's not just the 1% that we started with. It's evolved into just supporting whatever that commitment is that works best for the member.
Right, got you. So that automated giving is coming through the Terra Charity Alliance, of which I think are you up to like 40 members now or something? It's pretty crazy.
Over 60, and actually that you called it the Terra Charity Alliance, which we rebranded as Angel Alliance because we're now we're trying to do this much bigger. So we have other chains that are coming to join the alliance, other NFT projects from other chains. Like we just had Thor Guards come in and do an auction for us, and yeah. So every day,
amazing.
We're
sorry for going off brand there, Kev.
No, it's good. Yeah, we still internally, I think, we're still updating that. So
cool, thank you. And then I guess final question on the protocol itself, and if any of the other speakers here want to come in and ask any more questions on the protocol before we move on to the tokenomics, please do. But are there any specific benefits to donors that you guys want to call out?
Yeah, absolutely. So whereas most protocols will try and bootstrap liquidity and put their token out into supply via liquidity bootstrapping, we are instead going to have a donation charitable giving bootstrapping. So when users go and donate on Angel Protocol, they will actually receive a portion of their donation denominated in Halo in return. So not a full one-to-one match, more like 10% of the donation amount, but they'll receive Halo back for donating. And then that Halo can be claimed and staked to either the charity they donated to or another charity on the platform.
Cool. And any like tax benefits or anything that you guys want to call out?
Oh, yes, we do. So there's a lot of tax financial benefits for donors here. And I'm actually going to dovetail this briefly into our Restore Earth campaign. So tax benefits for donors, right? If you have made capital gains on your purchased crypto assets and you donate said assets to charity, you do not pay any capital gains tax. And you also receive a charitable tax write-off. So it's kind of a double whammy here in terms of the benefits of donating your crypto. And to enable that, you have to enable people to donate natively cross-chain. For those familiar with crypto taxation, if you do a conversion event of any sort, trading your Bitcoin for Ethereum or for UST, that is the taxable event right there. So we can't ask people to convert their Bitcoin and Ethereum into UST and donate it and get those benefits. So what we built on our side is an engine to be able to accept natively Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Atom, convert that into UST on the donor's behalf. So they get to avoid the capital gains tax, get a charitable tax write-off, and we effectively have developed the rails to bring all of these other chain donations into the Luna system and convert that to UST. Now, before I land here, the way we're pushing all of this through is a big year-end fundraising campaign called Restore Earth. This is a campaign that it's got a lot of momentum behind it from various people in the industry. It's got a very aggressive target of trying to raise $50 million before end of year. And we think that we can hit that target. We're going to be appealing not just to the Terra Luna community, but also other crypto communities to try and get placement on various sites, direct users over to this page that's going to be launching in about a week or two here. And users will be able to connect their wallets from various chains and donate directly in their L1 currency of choice to have that converted into donations for 3 charitable organizations that we have set up for Restore Earth. So we have the Solar Electric Light Fund, which is addressing renewable energy sources. We have 5 Gyres, which is addressing ocean conservation and cleanup. And we have Global Brigades, which is doing a tree reforestation campaign. So it's effectively a basket of charities addressing multiple climate change needs, and open to the broader crypto community to donate into.
Sounds amazing. That's a pretty aggressive fundraising target that you're going for there as well, and I'll be interested to follow and see how that goes. GJ,
So a little bit.
oh, sorry, go
I
ahead.
just wanted to follow up and plug Galactic Punks, because they teamed up when they heard about the Restore Earth, and we're going to do an additional mint with them after the donation, and it'll be a Galactic Angels mint. So we're pretty stoked about that. And so the higher the level of donations achieved, it unlocks higher tier and higher rarity of the Galactic Angels that'll be minted come right after, or first of the year.
Is that alpha, Kev?
There you go. Yep.
Nice. Oh yeah, I completely missed it. I haven't seen that Galactic Punks were going to do a second mint. I'm sure that'll be incredibly popular.
Yeah, it'll be a Galactic Angels is what it's called. Yep.
Sorry, I'm off brand again, Kev. Galactic Angels, my bad.
Yep. Yeah.
GJ, I think did you mention at the start you were hoping to touch on the Restore Earth project? Was there anything that you wanted to add?
I think we've mostly covered it. I will say, we say 50 million is aggressive. There are a lot of lunatics, myself included, who have been really fortunate, really blessed this year. And this is a way to take some of that and give it back to those who really need it. And that's good for us. It's good for the crypto space. It's good for the world. So we're very optimistic about this. We're super proud to be, starting with Terra as the place to do it. And we think there's a lot of people out there who are really going to respond to this. And so the ask would be, share it, amplify it, share with your networks. You never know who out there might be a secret Luna whale and looking, to pay some of that forward.
Everyone better pay close attention. Do Kwon recently called out GJ as one of the most interesting people to listen to in the lunatic space.
I agree. I've followed a few of the talks that GJ have done, and they've been pretty insightful. Amazing stuff on the Restore Earth project, and we'll make sure from GT's perspective that we get that shared out as far and wide as we possibly can. Cool. So moving on to the imminent launch of the Halo token. So launching the Halo token alongside the protocol. Maybe if you could talk through how does the token work and what functionality does it have. There's been a lot of talk about tokenomics on Terra recently, and so really interested to see how you're going to make the token work.
Absolutely. Lambert, if you're comfortable, I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, thank you, Chauncey. So first of all, Halo is a governance token, mostly. So, and our governance is a bit special when compared with other projects, because the governance that we're building, our DAO, which is effectively we call it the DANO, which is decentralized autonomous non-profit organization, has a very intricate influence in the lives of the charities. So the way it works is that when you stake to the DAO, you're not staking in general and to have influence on the DAO itself, but every charity has effectively what we call a little sub DAO, and people who have stake to those charities will have a voice in the governance of the charity itself. The way that staking is made is through bonding curves. So I think that we can go into more detail later if we want. But basically, the reason why we use the bonding curves is because the people who have staked to charities are receiving as rewards a percentage of the fees generated by the charities' endowments. So there's a little game theory angle here that would encourage stakers to go and stake to the largest charities, those who receive the most fees, so that to be able to receive the largest rewards, So and Delphi helped us in this regard, and we set up a system that allows to actually encourage those who are here for the pure financial gain to look for smaller charities and stake with them, because the bonding curve allows them to have a higher financial profit, and at the same time also reward those stakers that support smaller charities in the first place. So it's really a win-win for everyone.
I've seen in the white paper a little illustration in terms of how the bonding curve works. You maybe be able to just kind of articulate that, because I think probably a lot of people in the Terra community, maybe who are kind of relatively new to crypto, won't necessarily be familiar with that concept. I think it's relative. Well, I don't see anything else on Terra that's mimicking that that mechanism.
And just before Lambert takes that, I want to check. I think that Josie from Delphi has joined. I don't know if we can pull him up as a speaker here.
I have been trying to inviting him on stage, but it seems like he never accepted the request.
Okay, we can let Lambert start taking that as we try and figure out the technical issue there.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So I can touch on bonding curves. So it's it seems very complicated, but it's actually fairly simple. Bonding curve is basically a way to exchange a token for another one. So you have a token A, and then there's a reserve, a pool of this token A, and depending on the shape of the curve, the price of the token you obtain in return for depositing your token A is dictated by the slope of the curve, so a mathematical equation. So in our case, we have a curve that gives you more tokens, we call that charity shares. So more charity shares the earliest you are in the curve. So for example, if I come very early in the curve, and I put one halo, I might be able to get one charity share. And if I come later on, if I put one halo, I might be able to get out like 2.5 charity shares. So it's only this dynamic of I put a token in, and what I get in return is dictated by an algorithm.
Hey Lambert, this is Jimmy. Just have some other questions for you on incentives. It sounds like you guys thought a lot about aligning incentives, not only from folks that are looking to do good, looking to invest in charities, but also just from folks who are just wanting to almost game the system for their financial gain, right? So this bonding curve seems like an awesome part to start. And I also read in your white paper or light paper that onboarding is permissionless, as well as without any fees, to join the Angel protocol. So what are some, I guess, safeguards that you guys have in place for folks to just to spin up a bunch of fraudulent charities and try to get in early into these bonding curves?
Yeah, Chauncey.
So in the short term, it is very hands-on in the sense that as of the current moment, anyone who joins the protocol speaks with our team directly, gets kind of a handheld walkthrough process of Angel protocol, how to set up their own wallet. And just side note there, that's an important part of our ethos. We do not seek to be a custodial service. So charities create their own Terra Station wallets and substantiate their own endowments with the smart contracts. But as it stands, right, it's a very personalized kind of handheld process. So we're able to look into each charity individually before onboarding them. In the future, right, we need to find this sweet spot between full decentralization with no kind of due diligence and making sure that people are protected and aren't victims of scams. So the DANO is very important here, and that's our nonprofit decentralized autonomous organization. So the DANO is going to have an elected representative component to it. So people will be able to elect board members of the DANO who will have effectively due diligence committees to help review. Now, we do want to avoid making it too cumbersome and centralized of an approach. So the idea is kind of to borrow from something like GoFundMe, which will have a disclaimer on their site, and anyone signing up to the site has to agree to certain broad terms that they're not misrepresenting who they are, trying to defraud people, etc. So it's kind of broad blanket statements. And then there's some amount of due diligence from that sort of centralized committee, but also the community members themselves. So Angel seeks to be the world's largest and most effective community-owned charity. So that means the decisions, the governance, it will all be decided by the Halo stakers, who will also be staking their Halo against specific charities to signal support. So the two ends of the spectrum ultimately here are, we want to make it so almost anyone can onboard as a charity and use the platform to source funds. However, we don't want to highlight those organizations or include them in automated donation streams unless there's been some level of curation and signaling of support from the Halo community itself.
Chauncey, awesome. Thank you. I also tried to pull up Jose again. But I guess along the same vein of decentralization, I think earlier you touched upon the liquidity mining donating program. Can you talk a little bit more about the rest of the token distribution for your TG?
Certainly.
Yes.
Lambert, do you want to, or I'll let Jose jump in here.
No, go ahead. I don't have all the context, so maybe you guys can answer first, and then I can jump in on anything that people want further clarification on.
Sure, absolutely. So our token distribution breaks down. It's available in our light paper here, but the biggest chunk of the token supply is for the donation incentive program. So 30% of the Halo supply is dedicated to rewarding people for donating. We felt like it was aligned with our ethos, where we wanted to distribute Halo into the hands of the more charitable members of the community. So it made sense to reward actual donors with Halo. So that is 30% of the supply. It's expected to last a few years in terms of token incentivization. So that will be kind of a slow, steady emission rate. The community fund is effectively the treasury for Angel Protocol. That will be used to fund bounty programs, side projects. If it's determined that there's some level of compensation required for elected members within the DANO, and again, that will be decided by Halo stakers, but that could be supplemented by the community fund there. There is the team distribution of 20%, which is really just acknowledging that very few people on the Angel team have taken salary, and many people are contributing while they're doing day jobs. So we've got actually a fairly large team of contributors. So this is spread along a large number of people overall within the team. Strategic advisors, 2% of our supply. That is for Delphi Digital, who has been helping us with this Halo tokenomics design and the bonding curves, as well as our LBP raise, which we can speak to a little bit more here. Fundraising, 20% of the total supply. So this is our public sale. We didn't do any private sale. There's no VC investment in Angel. So we decided to to do that entirely via public sale, effectively because we had the ability to do that thanks to the $300,000 gift early on. So we wanted Halo in the hands of the community, and so that's the 20% of the fundraising there. And then so that's through Starterra, Apollo, Pylon, and then the biggest chunk for the liquidity bootstrapping pool. We also have airdrops for stakers. So this is split half to Angel Protocol validator stakers, and half is split between ANC governance stakers, and we are probably going to use the Luna loyalty scores developed by Flipside Crypto in terms of the Luna staking airdrop portion of that. So three airdrops really. Luna stakers with a loyalty score, ANC governance stakers, and stakers against the Angel Protocol validator. And then finally, we have 2.5% set aside for liquidity provisioning.
Cool. Awesome, Chauncey. I guess in the last couple of weeks, we've seen some pretty terrible price action for most of the Terra alts. And I know this light paper article came out quite a bit ago, and I'm sure you guys have thought a lot about it, but has anything changed in your thinking about the tokenomics given what's happened in the recent weeks?
Not really. So we feel like we developed pretty strong value accrual mechanisms from the get-go, so we didn't have to really pivot too much of how we designed in that sense. What I will say is we are looking to other innovations in the space in terms of liquidity and token value accrual that we may choose to implement. So there's a lot of interesting examples out there, ranging from, Olympus to Edge to T-Flocky, frankly. There's a lot of really interesting stuff going out there. And so we're always active in the research space there and trying to identify what additional value add could be added for Halo. But no, honestly, I don't think that we're going to suffer from those issues, and we didn't have to adjust anything to kind of mitigate our original design there. Just to speak to that quickly, the value accrual is pretty straightforward, right? Halo effectively has deterministic value. Donations get made into these endowment accounts. The endowments themselves are locked and compound in perpetuity. Halo stakers get a cut of the yield from those endowment accounts. So the cut for Halo stakers is growing and compounding in perpetuity the same way the endowments and the yield for the charities are growing and compounding in perpetuity.
I did notice that during the reading through the Angel Alliance, where you highlighted Apollo DAO. And I know Bruce. I think I saw Bruce was in the audience here, but you guys highlighted that they could be generating themselves $200,000 a year for Angel Protocol, and if you're expanding beyond the Terra ecosystem, I can imagine the commitment to Angel Protocol being in the 7, 8, 9 figures a year. Have you thought about what that means for the Halo token? And if someone's listening, thinking about joining the liquidity mining program, the donation program, or just the public fundraiser, what does that mean for them when Angel Protocol starts sucking in 9 figures a year from all of these different protocols?
It's a beautiful question. I think that it really gets to our mentality of win and help win. So not to get off on too much of a political thing here, but basically I feel like old ideologies are largely based on zero-sum game mentalities. You're a conservative or a liberal, you're a libertarian. It's these factional kind of things where you win and the other side loses. And I think Web3 enables a new reality here where really you can win and help others win around you. And it sounds pat, but it is actually like codified and allowed by Web3 technology in a very fascinating way. So that overall ethos really permeates a lot of what we try and do for Angel. And I think the Angel Alliance is a perfect example of that, right? So as an Angel Alliance member, you have a perfect vehicle to donate to charity. With our rotating indexes, it's really a custom fit for any CSR, corporate social responsibility type pledges. A lot of times a group will take a pledge, not know where to actually donate the money. With our rotating indexes aligned with the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals that will rotate at set funding amounts, you know that the donations going in are being distributed across a wide variety of organizations and causes from all over the world. So as a Halo holder and a staker, right, these automated donation streams are all flowing into these charity endowments, which you are getting a stake of the yield from. So the Angel Alliance member wins. They are doing something good for the world, which their community appreciates. The charities obviously win. And the Halo stakers themselves at the end of the day win as well.
That's awesome. And I've thought quite a lot about, protocol and liquidity and the Olympus DAO model and how it might fit into the Terra ecosystem. But one of the things that I struggled with the most is a lot of these governance tokens, unfortunately on Terra, just don't have the value accrual that they need to even support, a bonding mechanism. Folks would only essentially just bond and create these, give the protocol their LP tokens and essentially just maybe dump them on the market as well. So you might own all the liquidity, but the price action for your governance token is not great. So it's amazing that you guys are not only thinking about that, but thinking about implementing not only protocol and liquidity, but protocol owned assets. I know you mentioned Edge and other platforms like Prism as well. But I think that I've just been super bullish actually on the Halo token ever since taking a deep dive and reading into your light paper and all of the most recent Medium articles that you've been putting out. It seems like you really put a lot of deep research into thinking about value accrual for the Halo token, which is really refreshing, honestly.
Yeah. Jonesy, maybe you wanna answer first, and I can jump in on the past question about like sort of the alt winter on Terra.
No, Josie, I'll let you speak to that. The only thing I would add beforehand is just kind of the final thing on the Angel Alliance win-win bit. We're always trying to take things a step further, right? What's the iterative step? Allowing a charity to accept crypto. What's the generative step? Allowing that money they've been donated to actually earn more money for them. Now, similarly on the Angel Alliance front, right? You have the option of a protocol, gifting revenue directly as a donation stream, which is amazing. And then another option, which is opened up, which is rather fascinating, is this idea of Angel Alliance members gifting portions of their treasury, or like a seed token allocation for projects that haven't launched yet. And there's a number of examples of this already. So, I mean, Loop is the most obvious one where they did stake 10% of their token supply with yield being redirected to charity. It's a good example of this. And it's something that can either be done on the protocol end or from the Angel Alliance side. But there's been other partners since then, including Luniverse, including Terra Firma NFT, and including a very, very, very big player from the Ethereum space that we're not at liberty to name until the end of the month. But they're all doing the same concept of gifting their native token to us. And then rather than market sell that for UST, what we're doing is staking the token and selling the yield from that.
What do we call it, Chauncey?
Yeah.
You can say it. Stay on brand. What do we call it?
Angel Alliance.
No, locked for good. LFG.
Oh, locked for good. Locked for good. LFG. Locked for good. That's right.
And that's the fourth win in this. So you have the charities, you have the Halo stakers. The fourth is the lunatics, right? So the lunatics, we all the UST that is being black holed into Angel, that supports the Luna floor. So that's the fourth win in that. I didn't want to derail you, Chauncey. Just wanted you to stay out with that.
No, I love that. I mean, it just, to us, it solves a very real problem, right? You have all of these protocols that are sitting on large treasuries. They want to use them for good. they also don't want to hurt their own community, right? You can't just go market sell your token to give to charity while hurting your holders. So this allows a vehicle where protocols can gift their token, know that the token will be locked up in perpetuity, and only the yield from that token will generate money for charity, which is also a beautiful thing because, again, it's instead of a one-time gift, it's a gift that keeps on giving forever. So I really think everyone involved in this equation wins, and it's something we're pretty excited about.
Yeah. On the sort of, super, we spent a lot of time on this with Angel, and pretty excited about how the token econ shaped up. And I think one of the problems with sort of some of the Terra altcoins is, first of all, you have a situation with like super low floats, right? Where you start off with like less than 5% of circulating supply, and kind of demand's pretty inelastic, right? People want to ape Luna coins, and so you end up with really inflated fully diluted valuations because there isn't enough supply to like absorb the demand. And then over time, as like unlocks and issuance happens, you just have like a slow bleed effect, right? And I think like there's a few things you want to do to stop that. The first one is just start with a higher float, which is a lesson that I guess people like the sort of high FDVs. But yeah, I think starting with a higher float is something, and Angel's done a really good job of that, with having like 3 different ways of distributing the token and kind of getting enough supply out there at first, and making sure enough people can kind of get access to this. And then the second one is just sort of designing a token where it finds its way to strong hands, because there's a strong use case within the protocol for staking it, right? So rather than staking to just participate in meta governance, where there's sort of like very few proposals a week, and like even for Anchor and Mirror, there's like not that many proposals and they're not that mission critical. With Angel, it's like Angel's kind of like a DAO of DAOs, right? You have like the Dano at the top where everyone can participate, but then people can participate into the individual DAOs, which are kind of like the charities, and their participation both acts as curation and allows them to capture some of those fees. And so you have a situation where, even if there is issuance, first of all, it's going to the participants, to the people that are curating and participating in this sub DAO governance. And then even if there's like some supply that's always sold, which you need to establish price discovery, there's a reason for people to like acquire the token in order to stake it, participate in governance, and earn fees. And at the same time, like your staking yield, like one cool thing about Angel is that your staking yield is kind of performance based, right? It'll be variable. So like some people will do a job like staking into charity that end up seeing the do into indexes. Yield on your tokens will vary based on the quality of your curation, quality of your participation in the platform, which again introduces a competitive dynamic, and it also increases your rewards because of the way that kind of the rewards are handed out. So yeah, I think there's a lot of really cool kind of dynamics in here, like the token, the bonding curve token curated registry is an idea that we've wanted to, like we've kind of thought about for a long time at Delphi and never found the right project to implement it with. And I think it's going to work. It's going to be really interesting to see this live here. Yeah, and obviously happy to answer any questions or go into any more detail on anything as well.
That sounds almost like curve gauge like I guess design or game theory for these DAOs and the way that you would be able to stake your Halo. Can you go in a little bit more about your thinking about getting governance stakers involved with more of the day-to-day activities and what else you could do with a Halo token other than just staking it as well?
For sure. So I think probably the best the best sort of comparable is the graph. If anyone's familiar with the graph, the way it works is, maybe it's probably harder to explain it in the context of the graph actually, but the idea is you have your Halo token, and then you have a bunch of charities which each have their own. And sorry if I'm covering stuff that's already been covered. Maybe I'll go over it quickly. You have charity curves, which are, so you can stake Halo into these bonding curves, and you receive back these charity shares, which represent effectively like a share of the future donations that charity will receive, because the bonding curve receives a share of Halo's percentage of the yield, right, over time. And so you're kind of making you're basically curating a charity that you think is going to earn a lot of donations in future and that you believe in. And your vote also acts as like curation for that charity, makes it show up higher, and also governance power in making decisions like relating to that charity. And so that's kind of like the sub DAO. And so the idea is, if you buy like obviously the bonding curve is designed such that it's like linear, because we don't want too many like ape games, and with kind of exponential bonding curves, it can get pretty manipulable. So it's just like a linear bonding curve. But the idea is, if you buy into a charity that ends up being really big early, you can actually get like multiple X returns on your Halo, right? Because you're putting in, you're buying charity shares at a really low price per Halo, and over time, the price per Halo goes up. And so you're actually the underlying Halo that you can withdraw is much higher than what you started with. And obviously there's vice versa as well. If you buy into to a charity that's somehow like, I mean it shouldn't happen with the way we designed the bonding curve, but obviously there's that as well. And so people's yields will kind of be variable based on the quality of their curation. Although there will also be like lower risk options for users that just want to like have a stable yield. They can kind of buy into like stake into an index of charities, right? And then so your charity shares entitle you to governance rights in the individual charity that you're staking into. So you almost become like a participant in the charity, right? You're not just you can vote on decisions, and obviously these won't be binding because charities are off chain. But like we suspect over time, the charities that listen to their stakeholders will tend to do better, will tend to attract more donations and just be more successful. So I think there'll be like a natural mechanism for that governance to be at least somewhat binding. And then the way the meta DAO governance works is we don't want to have a situation where you have to choose between staking into charities or governing the main DAO, right? Because everyone who's staked into these charities is effectively like a stakeholder in the Dano as well, right? They have to govern, like they care about the way the Dano is governed. So effectively there'll be like a conversion rate from your charity shares to Halo based on the rate at the bonding curve at that time. And you'll be able to participate in like meta DAO governance with your charity shares. So you can kind of be fully staked in whatever charities you think are most successful, and then you can use those charity shares using the conversion rate on the bonding curve to kind of vote into meta DAO governance practices like electing the board or token incentives or whatever it might be. So it's kind of like everyone is a participant in the sub DAO, and your sub DAO shares convert to votes in the meta DAO in the Dano. So that's kind of how. Don't know if that answers your question, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I guess right now, maybe Ryan, you want to jump over to, I guess, the token launch strategy.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, guys, for the deep dive into the tokenomics there. It's really interesting. I think something brand new to Terra, and really interested to see how that plays out. So in terms of how people can get their hands on the token, guys, so I think there's a couple of pre-sale options and a couple of post-sale options. I think you're doing a farming event. So maybe you can talk us through where that's happening and how it's going to work.
Absolutely. So because we didn't go the private sale route, we wanted to give users an option to buy in at a lower fixed price with typical private sale lockup terms. So you have the option of getting Halo at 5 cents with a 3-month cliff and 9 months daily vesting from either Starterra or Apollo. Now, what that means for users who aren't familiar, the cliff means for 3 months you can't touch the Halo tokens you buy, and then they'll be released to you over a 9-month vesting period, where each day some portion of the Halo you purchased will be unlocked over those 9 months. So that's the first stage of the option, the kind of pre-sale phase, so to speak. So Starterra is launching this weekend, actually, tomorrow. And then the Apollo farm is going to launch towards the end of this month. The Apollo farm is going to have an end date on it ahead of the LBP. So basically, you have the opportunity to buy from Starterra or farm from Apollo for a set period of time.
So, Chauncey, just to interrupt, how do people participate in the Apollo farm? Is it just zapping the UST into there?
Yeah. So it actually works exactly the way the current Apollo farming works. Apollo were classmates of ours from the original hackathon. We've been very close throughout our building process. And so we're excited to be the first project that's using their mechanism as a way to distribute our token. And so Apollo has created what they're calling a farmer's market. Now, to be clear, they're not seeking to establish themselves as an independent launch pad. It's really just for projects that are closely aligned that would want to use that farming mechanism. But we did. So we'll have Pylon on the other side of things here. So we're including all the launch pads. But again, we wanted a direct purchase option as well as a farming option in both stages of the sale. So the pre-sale farming option is Apollo. And to your point, it will work just like Apollo normally does. You can deposit UST. It'll split it up into LP positions. The yield from your LP positions will be buying Halo at a price of 5 cents per Halo.
And that's actually across all Terra LP assets in a segregated part of Apollo, is it?
Correct. Yep. So they'll have a page for the angel farming event, and it'll be any LP position that's supported on Apollo. So you can do it with mine, you can do it with ANC, you can do it with any of the mirror or stock pairs, and I believe they're also adding Nexus pretty soon.
Beautiful. And then in terms of when does that start?
That will be the end of this month.
Okay. And then the launch on Star Terra, it looks like it's starting in 19 hours from now.
Yes, sir.
And that's just a standard Star Terra launch, usual qualifications to entry apply, I presume.
Correct. Yes.
Cool. So that's the pre-sale options. Then I think you're doing an LBP and Pylon pools for post TGE. Is that correct?
That is correct. So the main event really is going to be the LBP itself. Part of the reason we did the pre-sale is to obtain liquidity to launch that liquidity bootstrapping pool. But for those not familiar, it's basically a launch style where you prevent bots from aping in by setting the price to such a way that price discovery hasn't occurred yet. And people are able to sell into that price with their airdrops or buy Halo on the LBP. But there will be a constant downward price exerted. And in fact, before I speak to this too much, I think Jose can probably articulate it even better than I can. So I'm going to hand it off to him to speak to the LBP if he's... I'm not sure if he's still on call. So that's no problem. I can keep speaking to it here unless he comes in. But yeah, so the LBP... what you do is you set starting and ending weights. So the pool will be weighted more heavily towards Halo than UST at the beginning. And then by the end of it, it will land at a 50-50 distribution of UST and Halo. What this means from a pool perspective is that the pool is exerting constant downward pressure on the price. So it's not necessarily in your benefit to ape into an LBP when it first opens. And in fact, we would encourage users not to necessarily do that. So we'll set the price at a certain level, and then as people sell into that price or buy Halo, and as the weighting kind of pulls the price down over the course of the LBP, it allows a natural price discovery to form, where it's fair for the end user, not especially beneficial to whales, and prevents bots from front running the process.
Where's that happening, Chauncey? Is that happening on the Angel site itself?
So yes, but it will be leveraging Astroport code, which they are making open source for the community.
Wow, amazing! So the first LBP on Terra, then I presume.
Yes, sir.
We'll cover pylon pools real quick. Just as we're just wrapping up here, if anyone does want to come in and ask questions, now would be a good time to start raising your hand. So please do if you do want to come and ask the team any questions. So I guess the final option to get your hands on the token is the pylon pools. Do you want to speak to those at all?
Yeah. So with Pylon, What we observed was that launching a pylon pool without active price action was not necessarily the best play. What tends to happen if you launch a pylon pool without the token trading is that the APY is flat. Where you get the really enticing mine APYs is when the token is actually live and has price action around it. So for that reason, we wanted to reserve the pylon farming portion of it for after the LBP. So basically the sequence is Starterra and Apollo, then the LBP is the main event, and then following the conclusion of the LBP, there will also be a pylon option in the future where we're following the same model as Orion here, where they're going to set up a 12-month pool with a 1-month lockup. And then the price of the token will really be dependent on, how many people ape into the pools or not.
Yeah, I really like the kind of mix up of the pools. Usually we've been seeing, as you say, pre-launch pools with then kind of 6 different pool length options with tokens not vesting until halfway through the pool. I think with the tokens starting to vest after a month as well will be pretty enticing for people to come and get involved in those pools. So really interested to see how that plays out. Is there anything else before I see we've got a couple of people raising their hand? I'll let in shortly. Before we close out this part of the call, is there anything else that you guys want to call out?
So one thing that I'll raise from my side, and we really buried the lead on this one, but we're making the token sale a charity fundraising event also. So we've set a cap on how much the internal team will raise as a result of the token sale. And so basically the way it works is for all of the token sale, 20% of the token sale will be directed to charity. Once we raise $6 million for the team to develop out for the next 2 years, and this includes a lot of work with charity onboarding, outward mainstream focus, building up multiple verticals that will feed revenue back to the Angel Protocol Dano using the same endowment horizontal stack. But once we raise the funds that we need to do that, which is again that cap, then anything raised above that, not just 20%, but 100% of funds raised above that will go to charity. So if we are able to have a pretty successful token launch here, it should result in millions of dollars being raised for charity, which is our really ultimate goal here.
It sounds like it might be more profitable to figure out how to start your own charity and do good around your local communities than it is to even start your own DeFi protocol on the Terra ecosystem now.
It's almost like this new world we live in is all about incentive alignment rather than rules and trying to incentivize people to do good.
Cool. Thanks so much, Chauncey. I think there'll be opportunity for anyone else on the Angel team to jump in with any other thoughts before we close out. See, you've got Alyssa here up on stage. Alyssa, I don't know if you've got a question for the team. If so, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Great, thank you. I do have a question. I work at an agency in Australia that works primarily with not-for-profits. I'm very new to the crypto and blockchain community, but became aware of your project through a friend of mine. And I guess I'm just interested in how to pitch this to charities, to my clients, and what kind of charities do you think are most likely to sign up? In my experience, most of the charities we work with, they're not digitally savvy, they're very risk averse, they have a board to convince. And I guess if you have any resources or tips on what types of charities would be most likely to sign up and get on board.
100%. So I can take that if no one else wants to grab it. So the way in our experience, the charities that are in most need of the funds are most receptive to the message. And it works pretty well for us because a big part of Angel Protocol is inspired by the challenges of wealth inequality. The same issues you see on a personal level of wealth building tools being reserved for those at the top and the system being geared towards kind of wealth accumulation, not proper distribution, those issues are magnified in the philanthropy space. So a lot of charities that are doing the effective work on the ground don't have operating revenue for 1 year or even 6 months or 3 months for that matter. So Angel Protocol is really trying to serve the underserved here and provide this endowment financial primitive easily to organizations that wouldn't otherwise have that. So the larger the organization, the more likely they are to have some type of endowment solution of their own, and the more likely they are to have fairly Byzantine org structures where you have to talk to, 4 different groups to try and get a consensus from the team. So while we do actively approach and onboard large organizations as well, the biz dev focus is a lot on the smaller, medium-sized charities, and our emphasis on trying to get people to help onboard the local charities that are doing good in their communities. And then in terms of actual resources, so one of our co-founders, Duffy Casey, MD, he founded Global Brigades over 20 years ago. That is a large multinational charity development organization that helps with housing, medical, clean water. And so he had a lot of experience from there. And so when he gets on the call with charities, he's able to speak to them from his own experience and fundraising challenges. So that helps a lot. But we also have a lot of resources for that Angel Ambassador program that I mentioned. So if you hop into our Discord, we have one-pagers for charities about what Angel Protocol is, how to create a Terra wallet, how to think about UST and what that is. And it's all very focused on kind of mainstream audiences, because a lot of the charities we talk to are either not particularly aware of crypto or are aware of it and wary of using it.
Alyssa, does that help answer your question? Any further questions for the team?
That absolutely does. Thank you, guys. I'll check out the resources you mentioned. Thanks.
Thank you.
Let me also
Dominic?
quickly, Ryan, jump in there. I think
Thank you.
it's super cool, Alyssa, right, that you just jump in here. And as I understood you correctly, you said you are, let's say, not a crypto native right now. Hopefully you become one. I would be really interested if you could share your success story of maybe onboarding then charities, right? I think that's something that we will then hopefully see more in the future. And if you are able to onboard somebody who never spoken also to about crypto before that, and for yourself you embark in this journey, reach out to me, because I would like to cover that maybe as a content for the future, because it shows also the power that Angel Protocol in the long term has. I think onboarding the masses, right? I don't know, Sean, see if you can quickly touch upon also your feelings when you're talking to charities, how you open their eyes, right? That's what we talked about a few weeks now ago already, right? That I think Angel Protocol, we are underestimating the potential of onboarding mainstream, right? And this will be one of the most interesting journeys, at least for me, to see how Angel Protocol does in the next weeks and months and probably years.
Yeah, no, it's so I like to joke that if I could have designed the most fulfilling possible job 6 months ago, I basically did it. It's a really beautiful thing to be able to work on Angel Protocol and just see the difference that it's making in these charities' lives. Like, you get on these calls and it is teary-eyed, especially because we're actually pushing through donations now, and charities are seeing that in their endowment accounts, and they're seeing those balances grow, largely because of the generosity of the lunatic community and all of the Angel Alliance members. And we're not even open to the public to donate yet. So yeah, I mean, it's really powerful, and I really think there's going to be a tipping effect here where right now, we can kind of dance with the people who want to dance with us, right? The organizations who need it most are going to accept our help. And as we prove out our success and more charities join, more and more charities are going to want to join, including larger organizations. And there's also tipping point effects with individual groups, right? Like, you you onboard Lions Club or Big Brothers Big Sisters, and you do it in one local area and it's successful for them, but then it has this network flywheel effect of cascading out across all of the different chapters of that organization, wherever they may be. So yeah, there's a lot that I'm looking forward to here.
Hey, Chauncey, can you speak to, I think Alyssa just mentioned, that some of these charities are not tech savvy, they're not crypto natives. Can you talk a little bit about the integrations that I saw mentioned in some of your content around, say, Cash and Alice, where not only, just thinking about it out loud, not only would it allow people to on-ramp real dollars quickly, but also be able to spend it, right, without having to set up a wallet, thinking about UST, onboarding, off-ramping, where they can have, maybe simple tabs where it's just, transfer UST, you can invest it in Mirror, but also you can also, donate right there all in one app. That's super user-friendly.
110%. That is absolutely the vision, and we've been very actively talking with Kato, Alice, Cash, and then there's a lot of other ones spread around the world, which are more like bespoke to their region, like Teak for Australia, or there's a SPAR with 2 A's for the Netherlands. But yeah, on and off ramp solutions as a whole, keenly interested. It's often bespoke to a region, right? So whereas Alice and Kato will open a lot of doors for the US, which is a huge market for us, we need to work with a lot of different on and off ramp providers to make it as seamless as possible for the charities. But you nailed the end goal, right? It's abstracting away that DeFi complexity and really focusing on the end user experience here.
Cool. We've got an unusually shy audience of lunatics today. So last chance for anyone to put their hand up. Oh, here we go. Chinaman's coming in.
Did you say Chino Man? Dude, I think Chino doesn't know how to use Twitter. He just knows how to use Discord, right? I'm surprised.
Hey, yeah, it's the first time I'm joining a Twitter Spaces, actually. I hope you can hear me well.
Yeah, we got you, man.
Awesome. All good then. In case some of you don't know, our team is actually also behind Hermes Protocol, and we've already spoken as well with the Angel team to set up a way of donating, like a lot of terror projects as well. But I wanted to also reach out and say something that I just come up. You were talking about onboarding charities to the crypto space and how how it can be beneficial to them, and I just thought, well, you know what, charities need to be organized, and communication is key. And I thought, okay, you know what, I don't know how I didn't come up with this before, but I would actually like to offer our help to charities that are, especially the medium or small to medium sized ones, with their Discord. So like most of these charities, I'm pretty sure they don't have a Discord set up, but community is key for any project, and we would love to help bring in more people to Discord, and help them out getting set up, not only for team communication, but also to engage with the community, etc. I think it would help out a lot of causes, to unite people against the common cause. So if Chauncey or anyone from the Angel team, if you guys know any project that would benefit from having a really good Discord or whatever, just reach out, and we can help out those teams as well.
That is just absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. And you don't get alpha more fresh and hot off the presses than that. I think that's brilliant, and I think that it dovetails very nicely with the ethos we're trying to drive here of connecting donors to charities directly and fostering that community and relationship. So within the Angel Discord itself, right, we have different sections where people can volunteer and connect, not just for Angel Protocol, but for individual charities. So within our Discord, we have some charities that are onboarded to Angel that are actually active in our Discord currently. And we also have, lunatics and community members around the world who would like to volunteer and help out. And to your point, a lot of these a lot of these charities are not tech savvy and most certainly would not have their own Discord communities or even really understand the value in doing so when there's so much there. And it goes back to the whole Halo staking, right? So it's incentive alignment. You want charities to engage with their communities so the communities know how the charity is using their funds and get a sense of comfort there. So as a Halo staker, I would appreciate if a charity was engaged with the community, and it would make me more likely to stake with them. So it's, again, this incentive alignment where the charities can get more involved with their communities, and both the community and the charity win with that. But your offer here is perfect. Like, it fits that need so well. So yes, we will be talking more, and I'll take you up on that, sir. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Glad to be of service.
Thanks for jumping in, Chino. Okay, it doesn't look like we've got any more questions, so I don't know if anyone else has from the Angel team has anything they want to say before we wrap up. If not, it's been really great having you guys here, and I've certainly learned a lot about Angel. I think there's been a really great opportunity for the rest of the Lunatics audience here to learn about it as well.
I think for me, just to say thanks a lot, the GT Capital team, for organizing this. It's been really nice.
Cool, thank you. And for anyone who's joined halfway through, there will be we've been recording this, and it'll be put up on YouTube for everyone to go back and listen to all the alpha that you might have missed earlier on. Thank you so much to the Angel team. Wishing you all the best with your upcoming launch. And we'll here at GT, we'll make sure that we keep sharing out all the amazing stuff that you guys are doing.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you pulling this together, and then everyone for tuning in.
Yes, thank you.
Chelsea, last one real quick. If they want to follow along with the journey and get the latest updates from you guys, where should they go to get the latest and greatest?
Absolutely. So someone pinned the official links up at the top of the chat here. The two primary areas are, I would say, Twitter and Discord. We do have a Telegram, but I would encourage people over to first follow the Twitter and then hop in the Discord and engage there.
Thanks for doing the admin.
Yeah.